The cartographer's office. Lieutenant Mara Voss had spent 11 years charting the edges of known space, and she had learned to read silence like a language. The holographic atlas hung above her desk like a frozen sunrise, 8,000 star systems rendered in amber light, trade routes stitched between them like veins. Every civilization catalogued. Every nebula named. 42 spacefaring species, their territories color-coded, their borders meticulously confirmed by the Interstellar Survey Commission. And then, at the outer rim of the Orion Spur, the map simply stopped. Not at a wall. Not at a void. It stopped at human space. Mara had noticed it 3 weeks ago, a faint asymmetry in the Commission's archival data. Every other civilization had borders that bled into unexplored territory, marked with the honest gray of the unknown. But the 17 systems humanity called home were surrounded by a perfect, clean edge. No gray. No question marks. As if something had decided the question wasn't worth asking. She pulled up the metadata. The boundary files were 340 years old, authored by a commission that had dissolved before she was born, and flagged with a single bureaucratic tag, Survey Complete. Mara stared at that tag for a long time. The archivist. She found Elder Kovac in the Commission's physical archive on Kepler Station, a hunched man surrounded by data cores and the specific smell of things that had not been touched in decades. The border survey, she said, setting the file on his table. Who authorized the closure? Kovac did not look up. It's all documented. It documents that it was closed. Not why. A pause. His hands, she noticed, had gone very still. Lieutenant, he said quietly, there are questions the Commission answers, and questions the Commission files. He finally looked at her. His eyes were tired in a way that felt less like age and more like decision. You've been a good cartographer. Go on being one. She left. But she took photographs of everything on his desk. The signal. The photographs led her to a decommissioned relay buoy, survey marker 7 null, floating at the precise coordinate where the human border had been drawn. She requisitioned a scout vessel and told no one where she was going. The buoy was ancient, its beacon long dead. But its memory core was intact. She cracked it open in the ship's silence. The last recorded transmission was not a survey log. It was a response. And it had not been sent by humans. The text was translated. Carefully, clinically, into standard. 43 words. We have reviewed your species. You are still early. The boundary is a courtesy, not a cage. When you are ready to know what lives beyond it, you will stop charting your own edges and start asking why we charted them for you. Until then, grow. Mara read it 4 times. The timestamp was 340 years ago, to the day. The edge. She flew to the border anyway. The coordinate was unremarkable, a stretch of empty space between 2 dim stars, no asteroid field, no anomaly. She cut the engines and drifted, watching the sensors with a kind of reverence she hadn't felt since childhood. Nothing happened. And then, faint, almost beneath the threshold of detection, the scanner returned a shape. Not a ship. Not a structure. Something that registered, briefly, as attention. As if the space itself had noticed her arrival and found it acceptable. The shape was gone in under a second. But her console chimed once, softly. A new file had been added to her atlas, unprompted, and signed. It was a single system, just beyond the boundary. 1 star. 3 planets. No labels. No routes. Just coordinates, and a small notation at the bottom of the file, in the same clean font the Commission used for everything. When ready. The cartographer's return. Mara Voss flew back to Kepler Station. She did not report the transmission. She did not file the new coordinates. She sat at her desk for a long time, looking at the atlas, at the clean, courteous edge of human space, and she understood, finally, that it was not a wall built to keep them in. It was a shoreline. And something patient, vast, and genuinely kind had been waiting on the other side of it for 340 years, watching a young species learn to ask the right questions before inheriting the right answers. She saved the file. Closed the atlas. And for the first time in 11 years, she smiled at the silence.